Election day is next week. We have all the information you need to know before heading to the polls.
And later we take a look at the ever-expanding downtown Iowa City.
We've got a couple of Hawkeye questionables for Saturday's game. I've got the injury update coming up.
After some showers a couple days ago, the Iowa River is rising. Find out more on weather.
All that more coming up on this Thursday morning edition of DITV.
Don't go anywhere. DITV starts right now.
Good morning, and thank you for tuning in to this Thursday, November 1st edition of DITV. I'm Mackenzy alongside Susanna Klooster.
Thanks, Mackenzy. Today's top story, encouraging young people to get out and vote. Election day is only 5 days away, and multiple outlets are doing what they can to encourage young voters to get out and vote. Lyft will be working with organization Next Gen Iowa to help students get out to the polls. The ride-sharing company will be offering free trips from Mayflower Residence Hall to the polling place. Mayflower residents have a separate polling place than the rest of the Residence Hall residents. The residents of Mayflower are assigned to vote at Beau Elementary School. Instead of the main library, Lyft will be offering free round trips to and from Beau Elementary School during voting hours on Tuesday.
It's not just the go-to for young people. Social media plays as big a role in politics as ever. For young voters, the most prominent politicians are the ones they see come across their Twitter feed. This includes the likes of President Trump, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, and California Senator Kamala Harris. University of Iowa political science professor Scott Lacombe noted young voters are mobilized when topics they support are echoed in politicians. Quote, "Politicians want to win re-election, so they will focus on earning support from people that will actually go and vote." End quote. So while many young voters may be aware of the matters that are close to their heart, many politicians are still focusing on older groups and are sticking to the more traditional ways of reaching them.
Elections for the next governor of the state of Iowa are only days away, and before the polls close, the Daily Iowan has partnered with Iowa State Daily to endorse candidate Fred Hubbell for governor. Even in the face of challenge, the state of Iowa has a strong economy and expected budget surplus under the leadership of incumbent Kim Reynolds. However, $35 million in budget cuts to the higher education, in addition to her campaign failing to meet with the Daily Iowan, Des Moines Register, and Cedar Rapids Gazette editorial boards show where her priorities stand. DITV recognizes the management experience Hubbell has, and along with his running mate Rita Hart, the two are willing to reinvest in Iowa public universities. For more on the Daily Iowan's endorsement, check out dailyiowan.com. For more information on candidate and their views on specific issues, be sure to check out Daily Iowan's voter guide. Inside you will find all complete details on when and where to vote.
That's right, you can find the voter guide online at thedailyiowan.com, and keep watching DITV as we bring you the latest updates as we get closer to Election Day. Well, for October, the weather was actually pretty nice, but now we're in November, and it's definitely getting a little bit chillier.
Yeah, I have to say I had to bundle up more outside.
Yeah, and with the rain, too, the past couple of days, the river is looking a little bit high. So let's talk to Dylan in the weather studio to see if we can get an update on that. Dylan?
Thanks, Mackenzy and Susanna. You can definitely start to feel the fall chill in the air as we are now into November. We all definitely felt the pouring rain on Tuesday, as you mentioned, and so did the Iowa River. Here you can see the river level has rose to just about where the sidewalk is. Now this has led to some mud buildup right along the riverbed. After the flooding in 2008, the city has taken some precautions to avoid any more damage, but as the rain pours down, the water level goes up. Luckily today we will see no storms, as we will have partly cloudy skies with a temperature of 42 degrees. As we move into tonight, we will have partly cloudy skies as well and a temperature of 44 degrees, so a little bit warmer than this morning. Now as we look into our extended 5-day forecast, tomorrow we will see a high of 57 and a low in the mid-30s with partly cloudy skies as well. Now this weekend we have some rain coming. Saturday we have a 90% chance of showers and a high in the 50s and a low in the 40s. Sunday the rain also continues with a high in the low 50s and a low in the cold 40 degrees. Monday, we go back to partly cloudy skies with a high at 55 and a low in the lower 40s. Tuesday, the rain comes back with a 60% chance of showers and a high in the low 50s and a low in the 30s. Now, well, it looks like we may be in for a bit of a rainy weekend, so make sure you got that old umbrella with you at all times. Mackenzy and Susanna, back to you guys at the desk.
After a man's fiery display, one Iowa Public Library has received a swell of donations. Head of the religious group Rescue the Perishing, Paul Dorr, sat outside of the Prairie Winds Event Center in Orange City, Iowa, October 19th, where an event for Orange City Pride was taking place. On Facebook live stream, Dorr burned children's books with LGBTQ themes belonging to Orange City Library. In response, a GoFundMe was set up to accept donations for the library, with a target goal of $300. Now, 10 days into the fundraiser, the GoFundMe has raised $1,500 for the public library. Furthermore, it seems that in retaliation, Rescue the Parish is being sent LGBTQ young adult novels. And if you're looking for something fun to do over the weekend, there's an upcoming artist making his way to the Iowa City Saturday night.
We have Vorel in the newsroom with more on what we can expect from his performance. Good morning, Lauren.
Good morning. Thanks, guys. A passionate Indian folk singer-songwriter is coming to Englert Theater on November 3rd at 8 p.m. Gregory Allen Isakov is a full-time farmer who sells vegetable seeds and various other crops while also tending to a successful music career. He created a full-length studio album entitled Evening Machines. The album is a dark indie rock and folk-inspired piece that is more for a moody and darker feeling. The inspiration for this album was from a darker time in Isakov's life and is about him facing an unexpected time of fear in someone else's life. With Evening Machines, Isakov hopes to reach a larger audience while never changing his approach to writing his own music. Make sure you don't miss out on this amazing opportunity of seeing a one-of-a-kind artist here in Iowa City. That's it for me today, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lauren. Summer had some new changes happen in the pedestrian mall in downtown Iowa City. DITV reporter Jahisha Thomas talked to local businesses about how this has affected them.
Downtown Iowa City, in the Ped Mall, along with growing reconstruction, there was also some shifting of businesses and new ones entering the market. Shops such as Raygun have shifted a block down to its new location where Cold Stone Ice Cream used to be, and new businesses such as the Maker's Loft, a secondary store to Raygun, and a personal favorite of mine, Pattaya, had entered the scene.
We actually opened our doors here, so we didn't move from another location. Being a low price to moderate price boutique has done worlds of good for us.
With potential like this in such a thriving location, I wondered if the construction around it would have any effect on the business.
Been kind of good for us. We were a little worried about it when they first scouted this location. I do think that the construction is kind of hindering us a little bit. Like I said, it's been good as far as forcing people to walk past all the businesses and stuff that normally wouldn't walk past these businesses. But at the same time, a lot of people in general are just avoiding the Ped Mall right now.
So for Pattaya, they've experienced some ups and downs with entering the market, but it clearly didn't stop me from having a gander and a cheeky purchase. Reporting from the downtown Ped Mall, this is Jahisha Thomas with DITV.
UISG is saying goodbye to the murals in the pedestrian tunnels. 4 student-painted murals will be painted over early this month as part of a decommissioning process. The murals depict student minority populations in addition to 9 Black fraternities and sororities on campus. These murals in the underpass of a railway were intended to be updated yearly. However, the existing murals have been in place for 3 years. Earlier this year, vandals tagged the inclusive murals with Nazi graffiti. UISG is now hoping to find a different home for new murals to let public art be better seen and appreciated.
Well, last weekend we had Hawkeye football away, and they did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I mean, it was a close
tough
game.
It was a tough game, but I'm proud of them.
Yeah, it was a heartbreaker, and this week we are in Purdue, and you know, they beat Ohio State a couple of weeks ago, so it should be a pretty intense game. But let's toss it over to Declan in the sports studio to see what we can expect. Declan?
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. It will be a tough matchup for the Hawkeyes. especially with Nate Stanley, who might have been a little hurt last week. But we're going to start off this morning with your weekly football injury update. And this week's Daily Iowan sports editor Pete Ruden is in the newsroom with a look at Iowa's game against Purdue on Saturday. Pete, good morning. How are we?
Good morning, Declan.
All right, so quarterback Nate Stanley had a small injury last week. What is his status going into Saturday?
Yeah, on Tuesday, Stanley talked to reporters with his hands in his pockets the entire time, but said that he will be good to go on Saturday against Purdue, and head coach Kirk Ferentz echoed those comments. So expect to see Stanley in the lineup against the Boilermakers on Saturday.
And with Stanley down, the offense struggled. What does the offense need to do to get back on track?
Yeah, I think a key will be just to keep going to the passing game. It struggled last week in a big way, but Purdue ranks last in the Big Ten in passing defense, giving up almost 300 yards per game. And then adding on to that, red zone play is key. In the past 2 games, Iowa has been in the red zone 8 times and has only scored 2 touchdowns. So they need to improve on that.
Speaking of wide receiver, let's go to the counterpart. Purdue wide receiver Rondale Moore has had a great season thus far and has proven to be their threat on offense. So how do the Hawkeyes go about stopping Moore?
Yeah, Moore has been incredible this season. As just a freshman, he leads the conference with 68 receptions and ranked second with 802 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns. Devontae Young and Calvin Lockett have been playing the role of Moore on Iowa's scout team, which is hard to prepare for. But a key will be just to get contact on him as soon as possible and not let him get into open space.
Pete Ruden, live in the newsroom. Great content as always. Thank you, Pete. In other football news, 24 hours after Maryland head coach DJ Durkin was reinstated as Maryland's head coach, he was fired. Durkin was put on paid administrative leave this summer after one of his players died during an off-season workout. The reinstatement drew criticism and protests from students, politicians, and even players. Maryland named Matt Canada as interim coach. The Terps are 5-3 headed into the game against Michigan State on Saturday. Well, the Iowa women's basketball team had their first media day of their 2018-2019 season, and they are certainly excited to get back on the court.
And then our schedule, of course, demanding once again, kind of, in our opinion, same old story. We try to challenge ourselves, and I feel like we're doing that same thing again this year.
Say, ready to attack. We're so excited. We came off a great season last year, but it didn't end the way that we wanted to. So, just ready and excited, mostly.
I don't think that they feel any pressure or anything like that. I think they're enjoying the experience, and I want them to have the confidence that they can perform at the accolades that we're receiving right now.
I think that we have high expectations for each other. We try to keep each other accountable every single day. To be honest, we want to be up at the top. Our goal is to get a Big Ten championship this year. So I think our goals internally are almost higher than what people expect us.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the Hawks will be taking on Dakota Wesleyan in Carver Hawkeye Arena on Tuesday, November 6th at 7 p.m. You should go check them out. Well, that'll do it for me today. Come back tomorrow for DITV pregame show with Beau Bowman. Back to you guys at the desk.
Last night was Halloween and Iowa City celebrated in full force.
That's right, Mackenzy. A popular Halloween tradition took place in Iowa City last night. The Rocky Horror Picture Show was performed at the Englert Theater. And
for those of you who don't know, this show is especially interactive. You can read the experience of someone's first time seeing the show at dailyiowan.com.
Well, Mackenzy, now that Halloween is over, I'm really looking forward to all the good food and that Thanksgiving is going to bring us.
Yes, I would have to agree. And that'll do it for today's edition of Daily Iowan TV. I'm Mackenzy Cooper. Have a great day, Iowa City.